You are watching the streaming of the HTML5 Game Developer Day, and we have 2 more sessions before the big break. In the next half an hour, we are going to discuss the current state of the HTML5 game market. Well, I'm actually going to sit back and watch it, like you are doing this, while Alexander Krug, CEO of SoftGames, and Olga Wese, the founder of WeQ Influencers, will be discussing this. Hi, Alex. Hi, Olga.
Hello. Hello.
Hello.
How are you? How's Berlin? How's the weather?
Wow, we're missing summer here though, so much so far, but it's not preventing us from working.
All right. Well, Alex, I have a question for you before you start. Your Facebook page is just filled with instant games challenges. So my question is, do you play for fun or because you have to?
No, I play for fun. I'm always trying to get to challenge my colleagues, but they are all better than I do. So I have to play a bit more than them, than they are doing. So that's why my whole page is full of challenges.
That's cool. We should check it out and maybe join a challenge or 1 or 2, and beat you.
Please.
That would be great. All right. So I'm going to give a word to Olga, who will be asking questions. And you guys have a nice fireside chat.
Thank you so much. I'm super excited being here, and I've got a bunch of tricky questions for Alexander, and I'm also actually friends with him on Facebook since I know him quite a while, and we've been working in this space together until I changed into influencer marketing area. So I would be super excited to also get updates on the market from Alex, since he was one of the entrepreneurs in this space, and he was pushing this topic, HTML5 gaming, for so long, since 2012. So, Alex, could you tell, I know that you've been around the world to all live sessions and you gave talks on this matter, but could you please update other people who don't know you maybe yet? What is the current state of HTML5, and what are you guys, when did you start it, and why did you choose to go into this space?
Yeah, sure. I mean, let's start at the beginning at first, and then with the time, let's look into I'm hopefully trying to give you an update on HTML5. But yeah, cool. I mean, once again, super happy to be here, to have the chance to give everybody an update from a developer perspective on HTML5. And but yeah, so basically how everything started. So we started back in 2012, so a long time ago, to look into HTML5 games. And back then we started with the vision to help the game portals out there to make their transition from pure Flash game to cross-platform games. And and basically HTML5 back then, as also today, was the way to go. And we got super lucky back then. So our business back then grew super fast from day one. So within just a few months, we signed up with all the major game portals out there. We had suddenly 30 million MAUs across our games. So it was super exciting time. Super exciting times. And then 2016, Facebook reached out to us and asked us if we want to become part of a super secret project, which has been called back then instant games. And when Facebook asks, you don't say no, right? So today we are around 75 people based in Berlin, where's our headquarters, and also we have a studio in Toronto. We have 6 live games on Facebook. And working on the next super big, super secret thing.
Exciting. All right. So I have a bunch of questions for you, more specific. So I'll just go on with this. So just since I left the space for 3 years, I would be super interesting for me to know what is the current state of the market. Where do you distribute your game? How popular it is compared to the native games? How many people actually are playing it on a daily basis, on a monthly basis, yearly basis? What is the number? Do you have this number maybe for us?
Sure. I mean, also there, so basically today, I would say when you look back 3 years ago, HTML5 games compared to HTML5 games today, it completely changed, I would even say. So today, HTML5 games can easily compete with native apps. in terms of the quality. The game budgets and also the production values have increased dramatically. I mean, like you can easily spend $500,000 to $1 million or even more money on a really good high quality HTML5 game. I think that the whole market changed a bit from the Wild West as it used to be to, I don't know, more let's say normal market. I don't have another word for this now, unfortunately. Maybe because, sorry?
The mainstream market, you mean?
Yeah, it sounds very boring, let's say, but probably it's called the mainstream market. Yeah. I think like basically like the main reason is because like all the big platforms stepped into this now. Facebook at first, and then like WeQ has been like in this kind of area a little bit longer as well, but also Snapchat, WeChat, all the big names, let's say, like they stepped in, and it helped to increase, let's say, like the quality of the content, let's say. And it's like HTML5 games market is hotter than ever. I mean, like we see now on Facebook, for example, like a few games who have like tens of millions of users every month there. So talking numbers, you can reach there like 65 million users on Facebook, or like 20 million, 30 million. So it's like it's just crazy if you compare this to, let's say, for example, the smartphone apps market, let's say.
And why? Because you have a better access to the market, or like why would I, as a developer of HTML5 games, decide to go for HTML5 as a technology for games, and instead of building Android or an iOS app and release it on the very popular and successful market?
Yeah, sure. I mean, like on the one hand, it's I would not say it's an end, like like an end question, like so it's like, hey, you should only do, sorry, our question, it's you should not say like, hey, only HTML5 games or iOS, or you can do both at the same time. But anyways, basically, like why you should decide for building your games using HTML5 with whatever engine you are using at the end of the day is basically like it's like 3 or 4 main reasons, which probably everybody knows, right? So it's more or less you have less competition. So we're not talking about like hundreds of thousands or million developers who are uploading hundreds of thousands of games every day into the app stores. As you saw also in the presentation before from WeQ, and probably also later from Snapchat and WeQ. There's definitely lack of high quality games, especially quality games which are optimized to free to play, even if now it's open for hyper casual as well, ads monetization as well. So if you come up with a high production value game or high quality game and present this to the potential partners, they will be happy and support you to bring you the audience you're looking for. This ultimately gives you better visibility and more traffic, especially free traffic. It's organic traffic. You don't have to pay for this. And then once again, we're talking about like social networks. So they are coming up with a lot of social tools or viral tools, let's say, which also brings you viral growth then, let's say. So even more free traffic at the end of the day. And then a bit more from the development perspective is like this, that you don't have to ask anybody when you're updating your content, you update your game. You don't have to go through a long submission or resubmission progress or checking progress, because you can iterate new versions, you can test out, you can do A/B testing in real time. So a lot of advantages, which definitely speak for going for HTML5, let's say. Especially when you're an indie developer.
Sounds interesting. I know that the native market can be very tough. So you mentioned several platforms like Facebook, ВКонтакте, Одноклассники. So where else can you as an HTML5 game developer introduce your games, and where you should go for like only big social networks or some maybe smaller distribution channels? What would you suggest?
I mean, from just my personal perspective, let's say, I would always go for the largest one, right? Might be a bit trickier. So for us, so far it has been always like Facebook, the number one network, because it just basically comes with a lot of like a very mature, let's say, ecosystem. It comes up with now like a very strong ad network behind them. With good CPMs or comparable CPMs to the native space as well. You have in-app purchase on at least everything except iOS, which is good as well. Tons of social features, a lot of support. You have a very diverse and broad user base. It's not just a specific country or a specific, let's say, age group, but still also Snapchat, VK, OK, WeChat, whatever is on the market, say, they also offer a lot of support, a lot of reach, but sometimes just for a specific geo or within a specific geo or with a specific monetization model. Or a specific audience at the end. So it comes a bit or depends a bit on let's say the personal background of the developer. So if you are developing a hyper casual game, hey, awesome, let's go for OK and probably even VK and try it there, optimize, and then go on and bring this to, for example, Facebook or whatever it is.
So basically, there are several monetization models. Like, how do you make money? And is it different from platform to platform and from maybe geo to geo? How developers can make money? Could you please give some maybe overview of this? How to how to at least cover the cost and start living off the game revenues?
No, absolutely. I mean, like I said, like there are like mainly two options. Is on the one option is to generate or make money through advertisement, which is probably the most common and easiest way to make money. Just put a lot of reward ads there, and I don't know, whatever is what is necessary within your game. And then especially for Facebook, but also like OK and VK, they offer in-app purchase opportunity on Android. Unfortunately, Apple is not supporting in-app purchase, the in-app purchase opportunity within their on their devices, as long as you're not building a native app. That basically are the very most common ways to make money on this platform.
Well, we all remember this Facebook games time where, for example, companies like Zynga grew a lot through Facebook. And do you think that the market is back on the same track in terms of the volume for Facebook? Or is it still a second option or a very little percentage of the market compared to the native games?
I would say we're basically now more or less there. I'm like I said, we see now games which are as big as they used to be back, like social games used to be back in 2009, so almost like 10 years or 11 years ago now. So the potential, this was always like the question, can HTML5 games become that big as it used to be in the past? And we see now, especially on Facebook, that you can, if you're doing a lot of things right, or if you're just basically creating the right game at the end of the day, getting like 50, 40, 60 million, let's say, users. So it's, I would say like 2020 is the year where this kind of breakthrough was coming or is coming. So that probably in 21 we'll have a lot of big players coming back to the platform as well. So big players, I mean like a Zynga or a Jam City or even a King, because the platform is getting way more attractive than it probably used to be in the past. Yeah.
And do you think they will be able to monetize it through in-app purchase? Because for the big players, the revenue coming out has to be very significant. Otherwise, they will not bother to go there. So do you think that what is the tendency on the platform? Are users used to this advertisement monetization rather than paying inside the games, or how is it developing? Or is it based on the game, or how does it work?
Yeah, for sure, it's based on the game at the end of the day. I mean, like it's as always, if you want to become or make your game, let's say, if you want to scale it besides organic and viral growth, you have to create a high lifetime value in order to afford, like say, the CPIs you have to pay on Facebook or whatever platform. So I would say, like always, in-app purchase, if you have a game which is working very well on in-app purchase, then hey, that's awesome, because then you can basically scale it through marketing. But for sure, but hyper casual games, that's shown us if you're good as well on the if you're good in showing enough advertisement within a short time that you can also afford like smaller CPIs, then it is also a chance. So I mean, I said, if you have a good game which is monetizing, probably even both, right? So it's in-app purchase plus advertisement. You can definitely make good money. We saw it also on OK, but also at our end now, 75 people is a lot of costs you're generating every month. Let's say it has to be covered as well. So I would say like the games are not working that bad. So yeah, we are super happy with the platform. We are super happy with HTML5 games, and I think, as I said, now we are now at this point where we can say, okay, hey, the games we are producing are very, very close to the top games, also in terms of monetization. So it's just a matter of time, or question of time, when we are basically scaling up even more.
That's good to hear. So we just talked about the positive part. How about the negative part? What is the tricky part? Where are the pitfalls?
I think like the thing is, I would say like HTML5, I said, like brings a lot of opportunities. You basically if you have an HTML5 game, you can go on WeQ, you can go live on Oka, you can go live on Snapchat and Facebook and WeChat and Line and whatever. So opportunities is always good, but at the same time, it's also creating a lot of distraction. So I would say focus. Focus is the biggest pitfall you can run into when you're doing HTML5 games. And I would say, like, also from the personal perspective, we did this not clear enough or good enough in the past as well. That's why I would say, like, okay, on the technical side, I'm not that technical, but from the management perspective, I would say focus is the biggest pitfall here. My recommendation I could give to everybody who's now looking into HTML5 games is basically, hey, don't try everything from the start. Don't try to go live on every platform right away from the start. Stay or focus on one specific platform until you have a game which is successful in terms of monetization or viral growth, or you want to define it for yourself. And until you are able to hire enough resources so that you can basically manage your game on being live on various platforms. You're muted. I can't unmute you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I made this mistake and I muted myself again, so I couldn't speak. Talking about this, I remember when Facebook Messenger introduced instant games, it was super exciting things. We were so hopeful it's gonna scale up, it's gonna work. And then recently they took it off the Messenger. And what did this mean for you? What did this mean in terms of the market development, and how did it affect your audience and the scale and the reach to this audience?
We were discussing before it basically happened, before we heard it, and we were like, oh my God, what will happen now? Should we shut down our company, or should we just do iOS and Android apps right away? But at the end of the day, all the horror scenarios did not really appear. I would even say it was a pretty successful step for all parties involved, for the developers, for the audience, and now for Facebook as well, because now it's very clear for the audience where can they find the games. So it's not like cluttered around and how can I discover once again these instant gaming stuff there. So now they have the tab and in the Blue app and the Facebook app, they click on it, they can see all the news and the games, access them very easily and so on. For the developers, because we got way more tools on our hands by Facebook mainly, and I think also on Facebook side, because now they are not dealing with like different entities. Now it's like the Messenger team and the Facebook team. It's basically just the Facebook team, and everybody's super committed and pushing this forward. So actually, we have seen the highest growth since it started, as we got, I said, like way more viral features and like really great support from there. And so, and it's still there. Like you can still access games from the Messenger, just in a different way as it used to before.
Yeah, I also didn't notice I know that my ex-colleagues were still like pinging me on my Facebook wall, like, okay, it seems to be working, I guess. So, and
I have to invite you for more tournaments, actually, then.
Sorry?
I have to invite you for more tournaments.
Oh, thank you so much. I was missing this other 100 messages. So that sounds like a good step, at least from what you're saying. What about Facebook gaming? What is it good for? And what do you think about this problematic between Apple and Facebook? And if they will ever come to a resolution, or Facebook gaming on the Apple on the iOS will still be like services around the games.
Yeah. I mean, like Facebook gaming. I hope it's. You mean like, because I'm differently. I think you're meaning the influencer program. Is it that one, or I mean, if it's that one,
there is a Facebook gaming app where they're discussing Apple and Google. Oh, sorry, Facebook. So which includes a library of games inside the Facebook app. And obviously Apple does not allow this, and I think there were at least 5 bans for this app, where the Facebook is still trying to reintroduce with multiple changes to the app review team, but without any success so far. So do you think it will ever happen? Would Apple allow? Would they find resolution? Or would Facebook gaming be around some like stream and social features of the games?
Yeah, so unfortunately, I'm not involved personally in this kind of discussions. So I can only give basically my personal opinion on that one. For sure, I hope that basically it's not only Apple and Facebook. It's also, I think, Apple and Snapchat and Apple and Line and Apple and WeChat and Apple everybody else. So I think we also had like some kind of discussions with them. I'm pretty sure. So at the end of the day, I really hope so, because I guess that's basically just the missing puzzle piece to make this kind of technology or platform, we want to call it, to become really, let's say, even more relevant as it is right now. And if you look at Google, who really is like, okay, whatever, do it. It's cool. It's working well for, once again, like everybody. Once again, Google is happy because people are spending time on the devices within whatever apps. And at the end of the day, people are spending money, right? They're watching more ads, and hey, people are still downloading apps. So I mean, they're not going away and say like, no, I just stay here now in my Facebook app and I don't play anything else. They're still doing it. So I don't understand like why Apple is so afraid of. And I guess at some point it's also not. As once again, a personal opinion, it's not that beneficial at the end of the day, because if I see my friend has an Android device where he has much more awesome features than myself on my iPhone, which probably costs the double of the Android device, then I ask my next time, like, why I'm paying twice the price or whatever for my Apple iOS device and not like just buying the flagship of Samsung or whatever, while having and enjoying more opportunities.
Sure, that makes sense. I don't know, like I cannot comment on that much. I swear Apple has some
I'm sure
some
little Silicon Valley stories happening there.
There must be some reason. They will always remain probably a very close platform. So I have a tricky question from the organizers. So about 3 years ago, in one of your presentations, you said that instant games will disrupt native game stores. So do you still believe this? Does it sound solid to you right now?
Sure. What can I say, right? Absolutely. The one.
You mean you're a salesman?
Just may take longer. I don't know. No, I mean, I still believe at some point there will be a disruption, but probably not in okay, there will be only this and that. It's more or less breaking the duopoly, which is happening today, and offering like there's another distribution channel, like not just another, but another relevant distribution channel for developers. So I would say yes, but more kind of a coexistence. So like
no disruption for the market.
Some kind of, but
evolving in a bigger market together. All right.
Sometimes visionary ideas, like.
Well, 10 years in, you see, there was a bit of like a lack of destruction so far. How about the instant gaming itself, instant games itself? What prevented them from growing and becoming like a massive, huge segment in the mobile gaming space?
Yeah, I think it's various sides, right? I think like on the one hand, I think that the messengers or the platform itself, they had to learn a bit, okay, how to deal with this kind of new technology. What is allowed? What can we do? What do our audience like? And how do we prevent 2009, where like the whole wall is spammed with whatever, like send me a chicken and send me whatever. On the one, so like I think that happened, and so they came up with a lot of awesome concepts over the last couple of years even, but it goes a bit back to the Apple thing, I have to say, at some point as well, because in order to create and provide a full and working ecosystem to the developer, it requires that you basically offer like the full what is it, palette, whatever, or tool set, the full tool set to a developer. So in-app purchase on every platform, not like, all right, so I have my economy built for my game, so I have to build an own economy for Android, where in-app purchase and ads is working, and another ecosystem or economy for Apple, where only reward ads, and so it's super tricky, right? That's something which is also like a bit holding it back out, let's say, like, and then which makes it hard to unfold its full potential, let's say, like this. But yeah, I think we're going there. It's like now we see, okay, hey, the games can grow dramatically without spending any cent, and I think that's the most important thing. If you have millions of users in your game, then it's just the next step for you to figure out, okay, hey, how can we solve the monetization on the platforms where it's a bit harder, let's say. And I think that the platforms got as well a lot in the last couple of years.
Interesting. And do you see more mobile traffic, or do you see right now actually more desktop traffic? Or
I don't have the exact number in mind, to be honest, but we do see both. It's mobile and also desktop. And desktop is definitely not dead. That's some kind of interesting learning we had to make as well. I think you saw it also in OK. Like 30% is coming from desktop, and then just 8% was it on mobile. So people know, like Facebook, it's public numbers. Facebook, the majority of people are a bit older, for sure. That's basically our age now. So we're not the youngest, unfortunately, anymore. You are, but I'm not. So that's why.
Right? Yeah.
That's why these people are probably not used to TikTok or to Snapchat. They stay within the platform they've been growing up, right? So then these guys are, they know, okay, I go to Facebook and I can play my games over there on desktop, let's say.
Okay, speaking about desktop, I have a good question about Congregate. So Congregate, they are one of the biggest gaming publishers from back then, and they also had own properties. So they announced that they are now closing down their like they will not be open to receive any new games, and also they are shutting down many of its social services. So what do you think is happening? What is your opinion on this? Is it dying off and giving the way to the big platforms, or it's just dying off?
I mean, like, I think one of the reasons, so as far like I saw this news as well, and I was I would say not super surprised, because I think they announced that they gonna focus on their own game development, and I assume it's mainly for the I'd say app smartphone platforms. On the other hand, it's basically because of declining popularity of Flash games, let's say. And one thing, like, I think like this kind of step totally makes sense for me, right? I mean, people are playing games now where they are spending most of their time, and it is basically either within the social network or the messenger they are in right now, or on the other side, they discover new games through the App Store. So back then, let's say 10 years ago, when Flash games, or like even more, like 15 years ago, when Flash games used to be like a big thing, people could discover new games through the icon of the browser on the desktop PC, right? They clicked on it, typed in, I don't know, games.de.com, whatever, and they could play thousands of games. Today, as the usage has changed or switched more towards smartphones, they basically know, okay, hey, I click either on the Facebook or whatever icon and I can play games, or I basically click on the App Store icon and I can download and explore new content, which is basically pre-installed. So I think it's completely natural shift, and it completely makes sense. And also it basically follows what I mentioned earlier. It follows the principle of focus on something which brings you probably more money than just doing everything more or less right.
Distributing everywhere, you mean?
Yeah, doing everything, trying everything, and hopefully something will work out. Normally this definitely doesn't work out. Okay. So I said also beforehand, focus on one platform, do it right, and then once you have a working concept, a working game, then go really cross-platform everywhere, which is possible with HTML5, right? iOS, Android, you might have also other third-party app stores or some kind of carrier portals and these kind of things. But I doubt that this is as big as going live on, I don't know, how many messengers or networks are there, like 4, 5, 6 ones, plus the app stores as well. So I think for me, there's no doubt that HTML5 is definitely the choice to go. Even probably for Congregate, they have like tons of Flash games. They know what's working well. So.
I guess it's not working anymore. So, and actually, it already sounded like your less, let's say, guru advice, since we consider you like as a HTML5 guru, games guru. You've been in this space for so long and been so many tough times as well during this development of the technology. So how do you see the future? It's my last question from me. How do you see the future of HTML5 games? What do you want to tell the developers and motivate them to push the market forward? And do you believe that it's going to become at some point a very big next thing?
Sure. No, absolutely. I mean, like the good thing is now we had like more than, I think what I saw so far, we had more than 1,000 applications or registrations for the HTML5 game developed by Day Today, which already shows that there is like definitely like big interest out there, or probably even increased interest for developers to look for alternatives. So we have big platforms now. We have like the who's who, I would even say, who's supporting this. So it's Facebook, it's Snapchat, it's the Meru group, which is a super big player in Russia. It's like the Asian networks are on, even call them like WeChat, Tencent is behind it. So a lot of support, a lot of interest in there. So this basically shows an ongoing popularity and a very bright future. And on the other thing, basically, is like that HTML5 games are, beside this, like the instant games in journalism, more complex ones. They're already more present than probably everybody knows. There's a little ad breaks in between of whatever apps, the playable ads as they're called. They're like in a very much, or like say, in most cases, they are already built in HTML5, and they are played by millions of people every day. And people are probably not even aware that they are playing an HTML5 game. So this shows already that also like the big companies understood like the potential of HTML5. So it's just a little more like a step they have to take in order to really create an like a fully fledged, let's say, game, let's say. And then one last point I want to add as well, you mentioned already that we went also through hard times and good times of HTML5, and I think it's that's something what probably HTML5 needs, or HTML5 games needs, is some kind of rebranding. We have to make some kind of marketing campaign and say like, hey, now HTML5 games are not called HTML5 games anymore, because then you have to more argue why HTML5, is it already there? Is it still there? Does it come? It's more like, hey, awesome, what is this new stuff? What are the opportunities here? Instead of just always talking about like, hey, what are the bad things about it, and does it really make sense? So probably should all together today in the chat think about like new ways. What can we do in order to bring or to create a new idea? How we can name HTML5 games? Should it be social games again? Should it be instant games? Should it be I don't know what? So that basically whoever hears this name or is aware of this name, that he's like, okay, hey, what is this? And they explain to me what does it bring me? That's my last words to say.
All right. So just to sum up, hurry up on the market, be focused, and HTML5 games are no Flash 2.0 games anymore. It's actually not hard to be in there anymore.
Absolutely.
Correct?
Thanks.
Thank you so much, Alexander, for this nice conversation. I was really glad to get myself the update, and I guess we maybe have some questions.
Yeah, I hope so. Thanks a lot, Olga.
Thank you, guys. Thank you, Olga. Thank you, Alexander. We do have a few questions, but your discussion was so interesting. We didn't want to stop you, and we're a little ahead of time. So I'll be like real quick. And then, Alexander, I will ask you to go to the WN Hub and answer people in writing if it's possible, okay? Okay.
I will do. No problem.
Everybody saw you nodding, okay? We have it on recording, so now you kind of have to. Two short questions. The first one is that even though HTML5 game market is very interesting and potentially like can bring you a lot of money, it's still smaller than mobile games market, right? And probably there are even less specialists that work on HTML5. Do you feel the shortage of staff when you're hiring? Is it harder to hire people?
I would say, I mean, I would say no. The main reason is basically if we would be in our Unity, like if you would build our games native in Unity, I would say this kind of little fight about what to say, like talents would be harder or would be tougher. There are more players in the market than everybody might think. Like all the casino game companies, they are developing their games in HTML5, and you can find amazing talents working over there. And then also, like, one of the reasons for us was to go to Canada, because you have also talents over there who are more interested, or even if you talk to people now in other countries, joining your company when you are not in Germany because they're afraid of speaking German or whatever. No, I mean, so far we haven't had problems to find really awesome people, and I'm super happy that we have such an amazing team. It's just I think it's a plus that there is some kind of that you're acting in some kind of a niche area.
All right, cool. And the last question will be very short, but I want a number. Matthew asked if you can give us like the revenue potential in the top tier instant games on Facebook. While the platform usually do not share such numbers, but you on a publisher side, on a developer side, you may be able to give us, some kind of a number. Could you please?
Yeah, I mean, that's the problem, right? We have signed an NDA with Facebook, so if they are not sharing data, I'm not able to share data as well. That's my problem. So like we are basically like running in circles here. I mean, I think Olga has her talk after after the break, as far as I remember, after our talk even. So feel free to ask her again. I mean, once again, what I can say is that we're like a big company, let's say. So I would say like 75 people. Plus a lot of freelancers as well working around the world for us. It comes with a lot of costs. So you can make with games on Facebook easily 7-digit numbers on a yearly basis with this kind of games, even probably even more. So I mean, there is definitely potential there to. I don't want to say you will become rich there, but you can build up an amazing team, create amazing games, and entertain a lot of people with this kind of content. And I think you will find the audience, which you might not be able to find when you are on iOS and Android. And being an independent developer who is not having hundreds of thousands of euros for marketing budget.
Okay, okay, thank you. All right, thank you guys. Thank you, Alexander. Thank you, Olga. And I hope you will be able to answer more questions on the WN Hub, as Alexander already promised. And well, you have a nice day, and hopefully see you at one of the conferences offline soon.
Looking forward. Many thanks for giving me the opportunity to talk today.